on China's difficult year.
As China desperately searches for survivors and begins to count and mourn its dead, the scale of the disaster is straining the entire country. This was to be the year that marked China's successful arrival on the international stage. But so far, it's a year that's been marked by tragedy, scandal, and calamity. Just a few days into the year, hundreds of thousands of rail passengers were stranded, the nation's transportation system paralyzed after the worst snowstorm in half a century swept through South and East China. For days, this and the government response was the image shot around the world. Food and drug safety scandals continued to plague China. Chinese dumplings tainted with poison sold in Japan, sickening several people. China says its investigators found no evidence that the contamination had occurred in China.
My wife Bonnie died in December. After receiving heparin that was later recalled by Baxter.
Contaminated shipments of heparin, a blood thinner, were traced from China to 11 countries, renewing international calls for the nation to tighten safety measures. China denied it had any fault. Domestically, China's food prices have skyrocketed. Financial markets have been on a roller coaster ride, and dozens died in China's worst rail accident in a decade, when two passenger trains collided in eastern China, leaving hundreds injured. But internationally, this is a crisis that stained China's image as the Olympics approach. In the Tibetan region of China, anti-government protesters took to the streets, torching businesses and burning police stations. The Dalai Lama claimed the crackdown by Chinese police killed protesters. China denied using excessive force. Then just weeks later,
as I speak, someone is trying to grab the torch.
Tibetan protesters mounted a worldwide protest against the Olympic torch. This scene played out from city to city, country to country. China pledged this would not mar the Beijing Olympics, a similar sentiment by Beijing as it grapples now with the worst earthquake in more than a generation. It has been a year, though, that China believed would be marked by success rather than tragedy. Kyung La, CNN, Hong Kong.